What's going on, everybody? This your boy Doc Holiday. We back again tonight, late night, y'all, with another HBCU live show, live stream. Make sure that you hit that like button on the stream. Make sure you hit that comment section. Just comment on everything. Um, Share it with your people, and most of all, subscribe to the channel. And also, if you are already a member of the channel, make sure you become a exclusive member of the channel. We have the channel is $4.99. All you have to do just go on your desktop, on your laptop, or your computer at the house and hit that join button. You get pay $4.99 every month. Get everything ahead of time, all the membership perks. Um, Going to be rolling out some merchandise uh, later on down the line, and excuse me, and we got big things going on, but I had to come on here tonight. um I will be doing a show tomorrow too. um Gonna be talking about the Coppin State situation, so I'm gonna read more of that and kind of give my little spill on that. But I know it's late night, and I know everybody's on watching other platforms right now, but I'm not too much worried about that because I'm always on one of the, that platform, and also people on my platform. Uh, so right now, man, hey, what's going on, me at Mike? It is 4 episodes, so that's what I seen. 4 episodes. I haven't seen. Um, they didn't. I don't know if they have anything prior to the Celebration Bowl or to when he he basically then he already announced when he went to Colorado. So what up, Alvin, man? Boma in the house, man. Make sure you become a subscriber, y'all. Make sure you become a subscriber. So yeah, we we up in the house. We in the house tonight, man. Um but uh first of all, so I'm about to do a recap. Um so I'm gonna do a recap. Basically, I'm gonna do a recap of episodes 1 and 2, and then we're gonna go into 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 basically was, 1 and 2 uh on the documentary was just, kind of giving the feel about what happened, continuing what happened from last season, um 2021, losing the Celebration Bowl to South Carolina State, and then going back and trying to um um reload to make another run for another SWAC championship and another Celebration Bowl appearance. All right. We already know what happened as far as what went on, what went on, but um, it kind of this one got more in depth with uh certain players. So we already, we talked about last week about Nugget, um, and the trials and tribulations that he had to go through with mental health. So um and at the time, he said at the time his head wasn't in the right place. But uh when you look on down the line, you watch it and you kind of go down the line and look at it at the later episodes, uh he has somewhat, I want to say, a different outtake about being a Jackson. Um Also, uh really did my thing. I didn't too much like, they really didn't do too much as far as putting out Aubrey Miller. And Aubrey is one of those guys that's quiet. Well, not quiet, but he talks. He's the vocal leader, and he um became the actual leader of the football team. Even though we all know when it comes to being a leader on the football team, it's always going to be the quarterback. Remember, the quarterback, Shador, was only a freshman, sophomore, especially the past season, was a sophomore. So I wouldn't say him being a vocal leader, but Aubrey was that vocal leader. They didn't do justice for him in showing his leadership skills. The only thing I didn't, when they put him in that spotlight was for the wrong reasons during the first Coach Prime documentary that was done after the 2021 season for the spring. So that's the one thing I didn't too much like as far as uh, what was going on with Coach Prime, with the documentary. I wanted them to kind of highlight more of like Aubrey. One of them highlight more like um, Niles Gaddy, even the new offensive lineman that was um the one through 1974. Hold on, my bad. Uh, Basically they did too much. Certain players, certain players, the ones that really did that came into the program, they really didn't highlight too much of that. But they did highlight Nugget because that was Coach Prime's first recruit that he actually got. Even though he got him out of the JUCO ranks and made him flip from Georgia to Jackson State, uh, that was um, that one was they didn't they highlighted him a little bit more. Um, so first episode it was more of about what was going on, what happened, and then the second episode they kind of did a little bit more in depth with certain players, like I said, with Nugget, Peanut, um, um, I forgot who else they highlighted. Of course, Shador. Shiloh didn't get highlighted as a yet. He didn't get highlighted until later in the last two episodes. I think really the last episode. They highlighted Travis from all four. Um, so the thing about it was, uh, what's going on, Swag fan? What up, Val? Oh, and it's two more. Yeah, I watched all four. I watched all four. And if it's two more, I'm gonna watch those too. Yeah, they did Isaiah. They highlighted Isaiah Bolden, um, and his pursuit into going into the NFL draft. The season that he had this past season, man, was a great one. It was one of the best seasons that he had coming along as far as on the defensive standpoint. And we already knew what he could do on the as a kick returner and punt returner from fall 2021 season. So we Isaiah has surely kind of etched his name into Jackson State lore, into Jackson State history, with his play in the last 2 years. And I feel like it should propel him with um getting a invite to combine or and basically invite to draft. And he can play the slots well. He was a dog in the slot, playing the slot corner. For him to have his size to be 6'2", about 6'2", 210, and playing as a slot corner, that was, you don't really see that, especially on the next level in the NFL. You really don't even see that in too much in like Power 5 FBS. Um, he don't care about traveling to with his receivers. Uh, he's a guy like I said, he's a guy that would take you out your game because of his physicality. Uh, uh, Also with remember in episode 2 they was talking about the water crisis, the water crisis, the water crisis. We've been known about the water crisis because the water, the situation was basically it was out there after the big freeze when half of the South, majority of the South was had abnormal temperatures that were below Southern standards. Y'all know about that. That was below Southern standards. Y'all gotta understand. I'm in Dallas too. When it says when it was like -2, -3, -5, -10 outside, nah, we ain't used to that. We're not used to that. So, uh, but yeah, and it was one of two. The JSU experience, like it was in that sense. Uh, and yeah, nobody really didn't know about the water crisis in Little Rock until it was actually put out there. Vale, like nobody really didn't know about it until it was actually put out there. Um, I didn't know it was, it was the water crisis had gotten worse until mm, till probably around about this summer after it was raining. After the rains came through and flooded the water treatment plant in Jackson. So we knew, you knew it was a situation that was going on. That that was that was kind of deeply rooted, but it didn't get elevated on the national level until that happened. Um, so yeah, episodes 3 and 4 was more on the HBCU experience and what they put out there as far as with the homecoming. I liked what they did, highlighting um our homecoming traditions at Jackson State. I like what they did as far as putting the boom out there on put them on the screen, show them how how they do as far as going to practice, being out there from like 10, 11, 12, midnight at night during the week of homecoming. So they also showed the celebrities that actually came into the school, with like likes of Yellow Beezy, Snoop Dogg, the cast of P Valley coming in. Also, Mia J, who's the widow of Young Dolph, his kids, Key Glock, all the whole paper route family coming in and being a part of the cultural experience. Uh um so my take my take on this, as far as it a good docuseries for JSU. Now you could take bits and pieces of it, it'll be a good doc for JSU, but we kind of still got to remember this is still pretty much about Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. So that, to me, that is my opinion as far as it being a good doc for the school. I mean, now people was so yeah, make sure everybody like, share, subscribe, and become a exclusive member. $4.99 plus tax. Get all the membership perks. Get all that membership perks. If you got anything you want to ask questions, put it in the super chat. Be more than likely. We still try to get the page good and going. But get back to what we was talking. Um, it was a good, it showed Jackson State in a good light. Now, a lot of people was kind of on the fence about how the documentary was going to portray the school and the administration. Now, that's something I did not see. We did not see in this documentary. They didn't portray the school in a bad light. They didn't portray the administration in a bad light. Now, but they kind of breezed through all the rest of the games. Um, and they kind of stayed, they kind of focused on the not Celebration Bowl, but the SWAC championship game. which pretty much we all knew what was going on. Um, One thing that kind of got me that kind of irritated me about it a little bit was the fact that Deion was telling them that they wasn't playing dominant football, but you put out there and everybody was watching it. You know, it came on ESPN. It was on CBS Sports. It was on NBC Sports. It was on Fox Sports. It was on all these sports channels, these sports websites that you took the job at Colorado. Now, w- don't you tell the kids don't listen to what everybody's saying, but in a sense, how can I not listen to what everybody's saying is, and you're putting out there as the narrative that you're taking the job at Colorado? That right there is something I didn't like, because these kids was playing uh and it's a good it's great. Believe me, Sean, it's great. The only thing like I said, uh was already out there on a Friday. The SWAT championship game was on a Saturday Saturday afternoon. But you put out there that you took the offer from Colorado. So in a sense, he really did contradict himself. You have to understand that he really did. He really did contradict himself on that note. And the series, yes, the docuseries is keeping Jackson State relevant. It's gonna stay relevant long as people are on social media is still putting Jackson State, like, DI love and everything. And it keeps us trending. I'm me, Sean, we can agree to disagree, but I will agree with what you're saying, that this does keep Jackson State on the upward trajectory as trending. Uh and it does make kids look over and over. It does make even when he left, it does make kids look over and over. As far as going to play football for the school. And yeah, I'm sticking with the positive. I gotta, I'm biased, so I'm sticking with positive, and I'm talking about the negative connotation of the series. But the thing about that is, when it came down to it, kids was still gonna come here regardless. Um, I don't think Tristan Sion wasn't gonna you could I don't think Tristan Sion was gonna change his mind about coming to Jackson State. What's up, HBCU band talk? I don't think Tristan Sion was gonna change his mind about coming to Jackson State. I don't even think it says Guthrie was gonna change his mind about coming to Jackson State. Batman Mitchell, I didn't, none of those kids, I don't think none of those kids changed their minds about coming to 1400 J.R. Lynch Street. So, you know, it was it was a breath of fresh air that the that they didn't put the negative the negative stuff about the administration on this documentary, because they could have done it if they wanted to. Coach Simmons, what's going on? Uh, they could have done it if they wanted to, but I don't think they wanted. I don't think they wanted that in. They didn't want that negative press. They didn't want that in the light. Because I don't. To me, I feel like people was making up their own narrative about where Prime left because the school didn't give his money. Uh, they didn't give him his money. Oh, so they got publishing rights. I'm sure that played a part. Oh yeah, okay, cool beans. So yeah, that was that was a great move right there. That was a great move right there, Timona. Yeah, if the school got the publishing rights to it, yeah, that was a great move about that. Um, if you want, hey, Timona, if you want to come on the stream, you could come on. I think I put the link of the stream uh in the chat. But if you want to come on, you could just jump on and get your 2 cents about it if you already watched it. I'm gonna answer this question. What would help y'all now is continuing to win. That's the main thing. That would be the biggest thing that would help us is to continue winning under coach under TC Taylor. And that's it. That's all it is. Once you win and you keep winning, then whatever happened between from when Prime was at Jackson State, it really would be a moot point, which is cool. Which is cool. Let me see what you said, Val. Opinion. Deion is still important to JSU, or JSU important to Deion Sanders. Also, remember TC is now part of the Coach Prime's coaching tree, and that is true right there. That is true. That Deion now could say, well, I got somebody that was on my coaching staff. I got somebody that was on my coaching staff that could actually, I could actually say, um, I could actually say is what is head coach at Jackson State. So I mean, and that's true. And that's true. Let's see what you say. Elo Will, the entire docu-series based off of Prime's experience as a first-time head coach and especially at the HBCU. I think you could do that. I think you could do that. I think that I think it was a I think it was his experience. Like, and I think that's what he said too. It was gonna be they did it so they could document it for his experiences as a head coach, uh, especially as a father, and to not just only his own kids, but to another 112, 13 kids that's in the program. Uh, yep, I said it's a moot point. I mean, my whole thing is if he keeps winning, if TC keeps winning, I mean, yes, it's going to say, well, TC played, he not played, but he was one of his assistants on his staff. But if he keeps winning, and let's just say if TC wins at Jackson State, and let's just say for example, and I ain't trying to put it out there, trying to be negative or anything like that. Let's just say, for example, if Coach Prime don't have the same success that he had at Jackson State that he's going to have at Colorado, what is going to be the narrative right there? That's another question you should ask yourself. What is going to be the narrative right there? I'm just putting it out there. Um, let's see. Let me see what else everybody say in the chat. Got my buddy.
Let's see.
Hey, can
Good
you hear
evening.
me?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I know me and you we go back and forth on Twitter a lot. Well, not a lot, but as far as with the docu series and stuff like that. Tell me what you think from your own point of view.
I feel like I just want to move on to the TC Taylor era. Like, I'm just ready for it to be over because it's kind of, I can understand giving exposure to HBCUs, but
Mm,
it's kind of overshadowing what we're doing here at Jackson State.
I feel you.
And it's like, um, you're not going to see Hugh Freeze talking about Liberty football or
Nah.
Brian Kelly. You're not going to see him grab a videographer from his old coaching job and have him down recording for his current school and then going and posting stuff for the old school. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
Coach Prime is a Power Five coach, and I really want to see him transition to being that Power Five coach.
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you on that. Um, but it does says that like it said he has his first extension of his coaching staff to be a head coach at a school. Um, is only
Well,
one right now.
he took the majority of the coaching staff that he wanted to take with him.
True,
Um, of course, next year is going to be big for Jackson State and for Colorado
true.
because he took at least eight of um, the 18 kids that are in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
He took them with him.
True.
And I saw on Three Recruits, it was talking about the transfer portal that Jackson State has one of the biggest amounts of student athletes in the portal. But if you break it down, like 44% of those students, they went to Colorado.
Right.
And then two of them, which was Gaddy and Wiggins, they returned. And
They return.
I think Wiggins thought that possibly he was going to get an offer because Colorado.
Right.
And so for Jackson State, I want for TC Taylor to be able to. He's already building his legacy. He's just not as loud as Coach Prime.
Yeah, he's quiet. He's a quiet man. Like I remember when like I said, we was in school together. He was like real quiet, not real quiet, but he was quiet
He's
enough.
humble. He's a humble
Yeah.
beast. It's like a humble beast because when I saw Maurice Harris was the possible offense, well, not possible because he's retweeted some stuff about Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
So that's almost a done deal. So it's like, um, you know how tigers move when they're on the hunt. They're quiet. They're not loud. They're quiet and they camouflage, and then they just come out and kill whatever it is that they were hunting.
Right.
So I'm enjoying seeing Coach Taylor, TC Taylor, and Coach O. They're recruiting. It's amazing to watch. And then, even more amazing, the quietness of all the naysayers who were laughing at Jackson State.
That was true right there too. That was true. And there's a lot of people that think they still laughing, but they think they got the upper hand. But I don't think once the season starts, uh once once the big signing period comes around next month, then you got your portal opening back up in around about March or April, and then you got the summertime coming up. He's gonna fill out the roster to the best of his ability and to
Well, I think it's actually good for Coach TC Taylor that so many players entered the portal. Coaches want to build up their team
yeah.
the way they want to build it. And I noticed that the wide receivers that he's offering are like 6 foot up. You're not necessarily going to see a 5'10" wide receiver get an offer. They're really like in between, almost like Shane Hook's height.
Or you could say Coach TC height because he made his
Yeah.
transition. Yeah.
Coach. So, and he has a different, I think he has a different outlook being on Coach Prime's team and being the wide receivers coach. I'm sure that he saw a lot of those student athletes struggle with when is it gonna be me up next?
Right.
Because towards the end of the season, it was all about favorites. And I think that Coach Prime was like basically auditioning his kids to go to Colorado.
Yeah. So like you think that it was he kind of auditioned him probably after the Campbell game, well before the Campbell game, because if that my whole thing is if they've been talking to him from the jump early in October and they fired Carl Durrell on October the 15th, um, you think of well when trying to figure out what game was that. Well, that was the Alabama State game because that was in October also, right? That was like early October.
Hmm.
So you think he was already kind of auditioning kids that he was going to bring to
I think he
Colorado?
knew just based off of this documentary, and you can see that the first two episodes, he pulled a lot of footage out of like his old Barstool's documentaries.
Right.
So I think he knew. He went to Colorado. This is purely speculation. I do not have like a hundred no
Uh,
100% sure, but he did go to Colorado um, to talk at a conference. It was like a Oikos conference,
mm-hmm.
and talking with some people. Um, it's basically like white businessmen do deals over lunch.
Mm.
So now, like the actual semantics, like how it's going to work or how it's going to go, those might not be discussed over the business meeting. But if I'm at lunch and I said, hey, we're going to bring you in,
Right.
just hold tight or just be prepared. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened in September, August, and they already had that done deal over coffee and donuts that Coach Prime was going to be moving.
Okay.
So then that's when we just heard these different narratives come out like, oh, I'm not getting all my, the tickets aren't right. You know, there's stealing going on with the tickets. They're not right. How is it
Right.
50,000, but my paper only says 28,000? And I think that Coach Prime knew, like, you know, that you're not getting a whole 50,000, 10% of a whole 50,000. You're going to get the ticket sales after the 30,000. So after
Right.
30,000, if there was 44,000, then your check is going to have uh, the ticket revenue of the 10% for that 14,000, not the whole 44,000.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think that as far as like the documentary, I don't think it'll necessarily change recruits from coming because everybody's been very vocal about the different issues that's been going on.
Okay. Yeah, my girl Lillian said that blue and white game would be the key about how the team is going to be heading up into summer and fall camp. Uh let's see. Episode 4, I like how they highlighted Zay Bolden
Hmm.
and with his dad being a former NFL player, also kind of highlight to where he said that dad wasn't in his life that much, but he's there now because he wants to get he wants to get the nuggets and the jewels from his dad about the NFL, the draft, the combine, all the stuff, what's becoming to be a pro and stuff like that. And then I like the way uh how Nuggets mom came for the SWAC championship game and highlighted her and highlighted his relationship with his mother. Uh I wish I wish his dad was there because that's like I wanted to see that, but I mean I understood like his mom coming in and stuff like that. Um but um I like the fact that they they did push out there that they both graduated in this past December, um, and they both was entering into the draft. And I feel like Zay already had it in his mind that it was this was going to be his last year. He's going into the draft.
Right.
So
And I think Nugget didn't have a chance. I just wish that maybe his actual play. overshadow all his issues. Like I think it is important to deal with black men, young men, and their mental health, but I wish that it wasn't necessarily used as a storyline and more so focus on kind of like Aubrey Miller.
Yeah,
Like when you see Aubrey Miller, you see his progression, you see his hard work, his dedication, and you see all of that come to fruition with him going to the draft and him becoming this great linebacker. You see it from the beginning of the Coach Prime
yeah.
documentary.
What do you think about this? You see this question right here? What do you think about this question right here? I mean, or this statement?
The problem with this narrative is that one man is not going to level the playing field because HBCUs are in the hole, in the deficit by billions of dollars.
Right.
So there's no way that you're going to be able to level the playing field. And especially not from when he was officially coach, which was January 1st, 2021,
Mm-hmm.
up until his resignation. And he was barely there for 2 years. So
So I mean, did it level the playing field as far as
it'll
on the
level it
football
if
field?
these people come back. Um, for instance, The Rock and XFL. If they don't come back, then it was just for the documentary.
Right.
Good Morning America, the executive producer on his documentary is Michael Strahan. Guess who works on Good Morning America?
Michael Strahan.
So it was more of a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours in a lot of these different things that you'll see. College game day, I'm pretty sure that Coach Prime called up the Howard guy and told him to get down there. Like a lot of these things are things that don't happen if it's not Coach Prime. So it's not necessarily leveling the playing field unless these different entities like the XFL are committed to actually coming back to Jackson State without Coach Prime being there. So if we
Yeah.
don't see XFL this coming summer or just like they did last time, then it wasn't about leveling the playing field. It was more so about promoting this is what I can do.
Man can level, but can't level, but he can shed light on HBCU business. Correct. I
And
mean,
he really can't do that. He really, Coach Prime can't really shed light on HBCU business or even college business
right.
because he doesn't understand the different levels, what you have to go through as far as like getting signatures. You can't just everything has a process and you have to have about 4 or 5 signatures before things can go through and that's just how it is. Now, was a lot of things expedited? Yes, but you have to go through a process. Just
Right.
like the administration and moving money to general athletics, that's not something that's only for HBCUs. Financial aid, while that's a problem at HBCU, I've went to a PWI and they distributed our refund checks monthly. Like it
Yep.
was cut up into payments. We didn't
Mm.
get it all at once. Housing, that's not just an HBCU issue.
It's everywhere.
So the problem with these narratives is when Coach Prime says it's a problem, he makes it seem like it's an HBCU problem, when in reality, this is something that um, is an issue across the board at
Right.
in college athletics and on college campuses.
Yeah. And I'm really, in a sense, I'm thinking like, cause like you went to a P, I went to a PWI, um, in between my little time from when I left Jackson, I went to a PWI, I went to SFA in East Texas, and we had, I had issues as far as living on campus and in the dorms and stuff like that. I had issues with um, having my um
Financial aid.
financial aid and stuff like that. It wasn't like real major, but we had, you still had issues. It's always, yeah, and it's always going to be problems everywhere. But they want to just, to me, most people want to nullify and just lump all HBCUs together, that saying that they had that type of problem.
I think
And
it's just when he says HBCUs, we got to get rid of this complacency, or he'll make a statement, a generalized statement at that, or um, HBCUs, they don't do good business, and it's like you have not been in college athletics nor college business to make this blank statement about all HBCUs. And there's
uh,
not, and I think Lexus Driver said that his attempts were to try and change some of those things while he was here. The problem with that narrative is some of those things are not things that necessarily can be changed because that's just the way it is. And an example of that is when football finances are moved to general athletics. That's
mm-hmm,
not something that's just done at HBCUs. That's how most college athletics, especially at the FCS level, that's how they're funded because the football brings in the most revenue. These other college sports, they have to be funded.
right.
That's not something that can be changed just because he's here.
Yeah, like say something like, say for example, like a Villanova, which they in the Colonial, they only had in the Colonial for football only, but they're in the Big East for like basketball, and majority of their money comes from basketball for them being in the NCAA tournament and stuff like that. So it helps funnel, fund the football program. Um, where on the other hand, with us, football funds all the other programs. Like,
And
yeah,
it's that way in other FCS schools as well.
right,
They fund all of, and that's the thing. Don't make a general statement because, once again, if you're not privy to how college athletics works or just anything about HBCUs, you're just going to be like, that's not fair that they're taking football funding and putting it towards other sports, and they're going to make it an HBCU problem.
right, right. So I see what Lillian's talking about. PWI's enrollments are declining while the HBCUs are rising. A&T was punished for $2 million for growth, which I think that's dumb as hell.
Right,
Just
especially when I think they did a study and they're underfunded by I think over 500 million by
uh-huh.
North Carolina. So, and I think that um, Coach Prime came at a time where uh, Black students decided to go back home to HBCUs just because
Right.
of the climate. George Floyd happened at that time, COVID happened,
Yep.
and the affirmative action Supreme Court decision, it should be coming down. I don't know what they're waiting on. Any day now, they're probably going to ban. Excuse me, they're probably going to
Mhm.
ban affirmative action.
Yeah.
So that means that we're going to see even more um,
Minorities.
students
Yep.
coming.
I mean, like if you see more minority students coming, and then like let's just say I'm in here in Texas, right? University of Texas probably got what, maybe less than 5% African American student population. Uh, but
It's going to go down.
it's gonna go way down. It's
Like I
gonna go
think Colorado was only 2%. It'll be literally 0.5%. It'll literally be Coach Prime staff and the football team that will be at Colorado.
yep.
So I think for HBCUs, it's going to be important to invest now in housing, but we don't really necessarily, we do need to invest in building, but I would say buying hotels, apartment complexes, creating different avenues, like making deals with certain types of apartment complexes to be able to have or be prepared for that influx of students that's getting ready to come next fall.
My boy Miak Mike, he a Morgan State grad. Like, yeah, the states released the money that they owe to the schools. We gonna be good, and you'll see the progress. But that's a lot of money that you gotta they these school these states got to give up,
I
and they
mean, I really think that Mississippi, they their Supreme Court decision, it kind of backfired because in order for Alcorn, Jackson State, and Mississippi Valley to receive some of those funds, we had to get, I want to say it's 10% non-minority enrollment at those schools,
mm.
which is very high for.
And we're talking about the Ayers case right here, right?
Correct.
Yep.
And so the reason why Valley is so far under is because they weren't able to meet that quota. So they didn't get a lot of the funds.
Mm.
So,
Hence why they still look like they're still in the 1950s and 1960s.
right, because they weren't able to get their funding as quickly as Jackson State was. Um, I think I don't think that the Ayers case can go back to the Supreme Court. I think they decided not to hear the case again. But
Yeah,
Mississippi owes, I think, Jackson State at least $50 million worth of endowment that they have not even paid out. So that's why when people start talking about um, a new stadium, it's like they don't even want to pay for the money that they are required by Supreme Court law to pay. And you think they're going to build us a new stadium?
right. Right. I see now. I see where your point was. A lot of people didn't understand that, but I kind
She,
of
she said, I'm not liking this co host. I'm too negative. I'm not negative. I'm just being real. Like, Mississippi owes a $50 million endowment to Jackson State. These aren't, I didn't pull this out of my ass. It's like real. Like
yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
real.
remember not when the Ayers case was coming up. I think I was it was in '97. I was in school when the schools won that case right there. Um, so when we won that case, you seen a lot. That's where you see most of your buildings coming up with from that case, that money.
Correct.
Like I said, um you see a college of engineering building showing up. You
Yeah.
see the
Campbell, we had our um, Campbell dorms were built. They
mhm,
renovated Alexander
yep,
Hall. That was a big one right there.
the
The
renovation of
renovation of
Dixon,
Alexander Hall, that was really big.
renovation of Dixon, the School of Business. They built the finishing of the School of the Liberal Arts building in the back. It took them a minute to finish building that.
And a
Um,
lot of people don't know this court case. I think it was filed. I want to say maybe I don't have the exact because I would have to pull up. I actually did an assignment on it for one of my classes. I think it was in the 70s that it was filed, and it took them like 20 to 30 plus years for them to actually get the money.
oh yeah, Lillian said she was there when they actually did it, and she interviewed for the case.
Hmm.
Wow. Oh, you, your mom was at the
Oh, during that.
the Gibbs Green shooting?
Oh my
Man,
goodness! Wow.
man.
Right. So I think when people talk about complacency of HBCUs, you have to realize like I think that President Hudson is doing a damn good job
Oh yeah.
of running Jackson State, especially getting the position right around COVID. And I'm proud of what he's doing as far as like keeping Jackson State afloat, and it's growing. And there's a YouTube video where a lot of students were interviewed, and they were like, Coach Prime coaching here did not really affect us.
Yeah,
It was
I've
more
seen that.
so the football team. So that didn't necessarily weigh in on whether or not we were going to come to Jackson State. We were going to come to Jackson State because we heard about Jackson State, or because my mom or my aunt was a HBCU alum.
Yeah, they said. Now I'm looking at Ronaldo. It said the state said we had to get 10%, which is crazy when you think about the PWI don't have a minority rate that high. Yeah, that
Right,
minority rate
right.
is probably what, less than 8% or something like that.
I think that a class action suit, I don't know if they're able to do like all in the United States, like all HBCUs get under a class action suit. At least the state funded HBCUs get under a class action suit to the tune of like, you'd probably ask for, I don't know, $2.5 trillion
Mm-hmm.
and then try to settle it out of court. That is what I think should happen,
Hmm.
because we see that these I think it's more power in numbers. So we might see Morgan State or Tennessee State University or North Carolina A&T. We see Florida A&M that's filing. But I would think that if all state HBCUs came together and
Right.
filed in totality, it speaks numbers. The data's already out there. So
Right. Okay. Okay. Yep. I see. I see. I think they really do need to come together, band and come together to try to get the money that's owed to the schools.
then you'll
But
be able to get a brand new stadium, or you'll be able to invest in infrastructure, invest in getting our own water system. Jackson, I think Mississippi State and Old Miss, they both have their own water system.
yep.
Jackson State is the only one that doesn't.
Yep. Um. Yep. Because Valley has its own water system, and Alcorn has its own water
And
system
so
too.
there's no reason whatsoever, especially with the funding that just was given. I think it was 600 million, which isn't really enough to solve a $2 billion problem. But whoever is in administration or politics, or whoever is running in Jackson, that's a stronghold, because I know a lot of Jackson State alum are in those positions. They should be pushing for Jackson State to have their own water system.
True. True. Uh, Fed. Let's see. Yeah, Feds can't tell the state what to do, but in a
Unless they
sense,
do a Fed takeover like they did with the water system. If they do a Fed takeover, they absolutely can tell the state what to do. So, like the Feds, they came in because of the environmental racism at the state level, and they took over.
let me see. Let me ask this question. Yeah, Coach Prime stayed at Jackson State. Jackson State would raise the money to build a stadium.
No,
No,
no.
you would have to get bonds. You have to get some sort of funding from the state. Um, and if you have Governor Tate Reeves in office and he's about to run for re-election, you're not going to see that stadium no time soon. That's in a sense. I was Mr. Ford was on the show. I think it was the other day. I would think it would be the best thing to do is to upgrade the vet.
Absolutely. Because if you're thinking about it, let's just think about timeline when they were saying Deion, at best, I was thinking he was going to be here for one extra year. There's no way that you'll be able to build a whole new stadium by that time. And you don't want to get stuck in all these big ideas that Coach Prime had when he never had a like 5-year plan. So some of the ideas that he had were things that once he leaves, we're going to just be stuck.
Um,
It doesn't, the thing, we've been talking about a new stadium since I was a freshman in college.
you talk about a new stadium. We was talking about a stadium, man. When I was in school, that was in '97. They was talking about a new stadium. I was like, nah, no time. It ain't gonna happen no time soon. But that's when the state owned the stadium, and we were just
Right.
renting it out at the time. So you got it. You came into school where you got lucky that the state gave the school the stadium and told you got to keep up with everything now. Um,
We were
but
never going to get approval for government money, especially with Coach Prime calling uh, the governor out for the
woof,
water. Or, there's a lot of people that Coach Prime made angry. It might not have been like on Front Street, but he was putting fire to people's feet regarding certain issues. And it was causing a lot of discord with certain people in high places because he'll be like, y'all got to do something about this.
yep,
And know that once he says something, it's going to go on national news.
yep, yep. I'm gonna tell you just like this, Mark. I'm gonna be honest with you. We she just we not get if you ever been into the state of Mississippi, if you ever been to the state of Mississippi is going to take care of the rural white constituents.
That's it.
Jackson
That's all.
Jackson is 80% black.
And I'm surprised they haven't tried to gentrify it, but maybe it's because of the water system. Once they start fixing that water system, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw them trying to gentrify.
You are is 80% black in Jackson. The governor's mansion sits 10, well, not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes from the university.
But I do notice that like when white people are mad about something, they will be camping outside of whoever home it is that's responsible for making things happen. They will
Mm,
camp outside of there. They'll have uh, signs marching up and down, raising Cain. I feel like when the water system was on national news,
yep.
if uh, we could have shown a little bit more how upset we were, then I think that some things would have gotten done a little bit faster. Um, or we could have gotten an approval for Jackson State to have their own water system. But for a lot of people that live in Jackson, boiling water is just an everyday thing. Like it's not
Hmm.
anything different. They've been going through it so long and they don't expect for changes to happen. So nobody really showed like how angry they were about the water problem. It
Right,
was an issue for so long.
right. I and I see what you're saying. Let's see. Um, so he should have caused discord. That was his statement. Complacency was about, and I think he was talking about the complacency in the documentary
I think
was
it's
that.
talking about administration and HBCUs, but you really can't blame HBCUs for environmental and systemic racism and just doing the best with what you have, making the best of what you have. Now, one thing I did agree with Coach Prime is the business deals as far as the various bowl games or the
Classics.
classics. Yes, I definitely agree that the classic that contract was atrocious.
No renovations to the vet. New stadium is needed. You could renovate that vet. because
Yes,
the
South
thing
Carolina
is,
renovated their or not their vet. South Carolina renovated their stadium. Their stadium was built. Let me see, because I looked at it. South Carolina
you talking about
Stadium,
University of South Carolina?
um, the Gamecocks football stadium.
Yeah,
I think they,
that stadium was built in the 20s.
yeah, yeah. So it said that Bryce Stadium was first constructed in 1934.
Nah, okay.
Then it seated 17,600 Gamecock fans. It's undergone a number of expansions and revisions over the year, with the largest prior to the 1982 expansion coming in 1971. So they have revamped and revamped and revamped. And I don't know if you've seen their stadium, but it looks fine to me. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, I seen it.
So that's why I think they put 30 million into their the most recent one that they had. They put like 30 million into it. It only cost them 113,000 back in 1934. And then over time they've invested roughly $30 million.
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, JSU true. I know those stadiums have been renovated so much and so much, and the vet hasn't been done. I think only been renovated like maybe a couple of times because that horseshoe wasn't there from when it was built in the it was built in I think it was in the 40s or 50s. Like you could kind of in a sense you could kind of see how something was built originally and then where additions was put in
Right.
on to a, a spot.
And that's basically how the state um, doesn't have accountability to actually get a stadium rebuilt, because Jackson State can't determine whether or not they want renovations or they want a new stadium, when you know that you're not going to get a new stadium from majority Republicans. They don't even want to make sure that you have running correct water. So I'm trying to figure out, how do you plan on getting a brand new stadium and they don't even want to give you $10 million to make sure that you have the security needed to keep the campus safe.
Now let me I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Timon. I'm gonna get to this right here. Uh for her being on my show, this what your second or third time on my show?
Mm-hmm.
All her answers have been quite relevant. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm just trying to figure out, if Mark Robinson has all the answers and he's been talking to HBCU administrators since 2019, what's going on there? Why is there still complacency? Maybe he needs to call in onto the show and explain to us, Mark Robinson, what are we missing here?
you
Tell him to give us the answers. How do we build a new stadium when there's all Republicans? Every Democrat in Mississippi could vote for a new stadium and we still wouldn't pass it. And
still,
that's
yep.
not being negative. That's just how it is. That's the facts.
If you understand how the Mississippi government works, then you will see why most our HBCUs are in the situations that they are in now. And plus, you will see why that they have always been a Republican governor in sit at the governor's mansion because of the simple fact that Mississippi is going to vote for its own.
Right.
White Mississippi is going to vote for its own. I know uh 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 my IP Freely, he said that yes, Mississippi is 40% black, but you also got 60% white.
And that, see, it's not like in states like Georgia where you can get 10 to 12 to even 15% of white to vote with the 40% black. The white is very much so going to vote white. Like, it's not like Georgia or North Carolina. It's not a swing state. And that's why I was saying, like, we're just having a conversation. So if you
Yeah.
feel like you have something that you want to say, definitely call in and let's brainstorm.
Um, so I like this. The vet gives us an advantage of any SWAC FCS school. Renovated, the vet gives us the best game experience amongst HBCUs, FCS schools, which it does. It's it's the only stadium that seats 60,000 in FCS. We're the only school that can average over 40,000 people to a game. Um, it is time to renovate it.
Right.
Because what my thing is, if they say, let's say if the state give us, if the state of Mississippi say we're going to give you the money to build a stadium, and let's say we say okay, we're going to play in the vet for maybe like another year or two, then we're going to build our own, right?
Don't they have to actually give us the funding if they do decide to take over?
Yep. Because
So that's
remember
the
they
thing.
want the land for the hospital.
I've been hearing people say something about this hospital, and I just don't see it. I think they're just using that as a scapegoat. It's kind of like a catch 22. I think they did a feasibility study
Yep.
recently and it just came out. A study that cost, I think, over $250,000. More, it says, we had all the answers. We had the land for them to build it on, and we still couldn't. It said a recent disagreement over the location was the main cause for the funding bill to die. There's not a disagreement. We have four locations that were identified. So,
Mm-hmm.
in all, it just says some lawmakers are pushing for a downtown stadium. They're just saying, like, that's just like kind of like telling somebody um, something just so that they can feel like they're going, you know, going through the motions, basically. So they did this feasibility study, but they had no intentions on actually passing anything.
Right. So we all know hospital equals Ole Miss. Yes, Ole Miss runs the whole thing. Ole Miss is pretty much almost damn near your flagship school for the state of Mississippi. Um, so giving them that land,
It's
giving them
actually interesting to listen to the Ayers case. If you guys get a chance to listen to the Ayers case, the lawyers at the time talked about how um, you had to basically during that time period you had to state what type of school you were going to be. So like Alcorn was focusing on agriculture, Mississippi for Women was focused on women, and then Jackson State, the urban university, but for education. So they really tried to keep the schools in whatever sector that they said that they were supposed to be in.
mm-hmm.
So that's how they kept Jackson State down with not being able to expand a lot.
Hmm. Yep. This what hospital equal gentrification.
I think once they start fixing that water, you're definitely going to see gentrification, which is why it's so important for Jackson State to double down. I can remember during while I was at school, I think was it Ronald Mason? Ronald
Yeah.
Mason was trying to merge the HBCUs at the time.
No, that wasn't Mason.
Who was that?
That was Haley Barbour as the governor of Mississippi.
But
Um,
Mason was the president at the time.
and yes, 2009. Yes,
Yep.
2009.
They
Ronald,
made
yeah,
he made like a suggestion because we don't have enough funding for this and we don't have enough because you guys are undercutting us and spending it at Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Like, and so that just goes to show you that even people that look like you might not have your best interest at heart. And I think that would be the one time where everybody raised so much Cain that they kind of let that go.
Oh yes, yes. I was. In fact, I came back to Jackson in spring of '09. That's when the that talk was coming around, and everybody was up in arms like, no, we're not going to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't need to do that. If we merge, that doesn't mean that we still going to get that type of money. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't mean that. So, they had a campaign about it, and they shot it. It was shot down. It was shot down. I'm like, nah, we do not. Jackson State has its own history. Alcorn has its own history. Valley has its own history. So, but yeah, and this is always going to be a talk. This is always going to be a talk about when it comes to money, when it comes to funding and stuff like that. It's always going to be talks, but until there is action behind these talks, that's all it's going to be is talks.
Right.
So if people, if I was a billionaire, if I was a billionaire, I'd probably give half back to Jackson State, just because the reason why I would say that is because they made me who I am.
Right.
And I would tell I wouldn't even tell the school how to do it. I'd be like, look, do what you need to do. Get the school back up, get the school up to par.
Right.
Get everything that you need.
I would just go about it like um, getting the bonds that we need, holding the government accountable. And I don't really know what the lobbying situation is in Mississippi or in Jackson for that matter.
Right.
Like, what are they doing to pass even the most simplest things like getting our own water system? That would probably be interesting if we could get the mayor on to actually explain to us, because the excuses I've heard is that it puts a strain on the rest of the water system. But now that we have this funding, why can't we go ahead and get that situated?
Man, it's crazy. He said, yeah, on a landscape company in Jackson with a customer on the medians on Lakeland Drive. He's also buying a huge swaths of land in West Jackson. Gentrification is going to happen, and is going to happen.
Right, especially once they approve that water to get fixed, you can best believe that there's going to be a lot of
Hey man,
corporate.
What's going on, Dewan? What's going on, man?
you got it. Hey sister, how you doing? Hey, hello
Good,
everybody.
good.
I'm looking at this Mark gentleman with all the answers, man. It's just blowing my mind.
All right, tell everybody about yourself, man. Tell them where
Hey
you
guys,
from.
Dewan Jameson. I work for a particular agency. I won't say the name. Uh, but I'm a GSU graduate, man, born and bred, second generation. Uh, love my school just like you guys do. But I'm looking at this guy, Mark, or whomever he is, and he is blowing my mind with all these statements about what the school doesn't have, or what HBCUs doesn't have contingency plans for, or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, if you have all the answers, why aren't you talking to some of our admin people or the president to help us solve some of these problems?
Right.
Mhm.
Because, like I said, if you ain't got no action behind your talks, that's all it is. It's just talks.
Yeah. And even some person on there was saying something bad about my sister back there, just making comments about she not having this or whatever. And everything she said was apropos. I mean, so it was just kind of ticking me off, man. And I was like, let me say this so I can go to bed and go to work in a little while and
Thank you,
not be
man.
mad, whatever. But no, you guys doing good. I mean, other than that,
I want everybody on here too that's on the chat in the chat right now to go to YouTube as to subscribe to She Loves D. That is going to be her podcast.
Okay.
Hopefully she have me on there as a guest.
Yeah.
We should get it go up and going.
Yeah.
But
Give me whatever I need so I can do whatever so I can get on that
Thank
too.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Hey, did you guys talk about and I'm gonna let you go too. I know you guys are busy.
no, you good.
Did you we were talking Rev talked about what happened with Shannon this morning, man. It kind of had us up in a uproar earlier. Did you guys talk about that any or
With Shannon Sharp.
yeah, man, did you
I
look at
talked
that
about
movie?
it. I think I talked about it last night.
Okay, no, you didn't see the thing this morning?
I didn't get a chance to see it this morning.
Oh, well, I
I
won't blow
saw
it
it
for you.
with Skip. He basically said the reason why I didn't come on
Yeah,
is because I didn't want it to be about the
a
tweet.
young brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
and
wanted
it's
it to
injured.
focus
Yeah.
on Hamlin.
Mm-hmm.
And he
And
wouldn't let him finish.
yeah, he kept cutting him off, and Skip basically said, "Well, I'm not retracting anything. I'm not taking back anything. I'm not taking anything down." And so I'm like, "Ooh, all right."
We talked about it last night. We talked me and Mr. Ford.
Yeah,
We
I
talked,
was listening. Yeah, I was listening
yeah,
to that. Yeah.
with Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is for the shock value. That's the reason
Yeah,
why
man.
he left first take, because Stephen A. Smith was basically pretty much stealing his shine.
Yeah.
And then Fox came with a bag for him,
Yep.
and it was something that he couldn't refuse.
True. And over there, he's kind of like he has full autonomy for that show. And I don't want to say anything really out of the way, but I think he kind of, because I think at the time, didn't Shay work for CBS for a while?
Yep. He was
And
at CBS. He was on NFL Today,
yeah,
the pregame show.
and like
Skip's been little boying him for the last month and a half. He's
yeah,
been
pretty much.
little
Yeah,
boying him, and just like Lillian said, we don't have a dog in the fight just
right,
because of how he disrespected.
right.
Like,
And then all of a sudden, Shay shows up on that show, and I was glad for him. I like seeing that. Seeing somebody that kind of represents us, quote unquote, every day. But Shay's no slouch. I mean, he had a hell of a career. Went to an HBCU. He really didn't promote it the way we do, but he did.
Right.
It's a historical fact. And but man, it's not a good look as of late. But anyway,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Now the thing about it is, when I looked at the tweet, what Skip said, right?
Yeah.
And I broke it down last night, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I said it like I understood what he was saying, but the matter of it being at the time of what happened to Mr. Hamlin, him collapsing on the field, should not have been said afterwards.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't have been said, because I understood what he was talking about. Well, the game like this late in the season, you only got one game left with this type of magnitude. But I'm like, bro, you got to understand, this man down there could have died on the field.
He
Absolutely.
did die. His heart stopped.
His heart stopped. So
he had to be revived.
Right.
So we don't even know if he's going to pull through or not.
Right.
So in a sense, that statement is null and void.
Yeah, man, that's a hell of a thing to say, man. It's inflammatory, And Doc, my son, you see my daughter, my picture on my profile picture. But I have a son too, and he's a senior at Valley. He got hurt, so he's not playing ball anymore. But I was talking to him, and I said, man, every dad wants to see, his son or daughter, especially if they play ball, want to see them, make the most of it. If they have a chance to play ball, good, whatever. If they can, go pro, that's good. If not, just get something that you can use to sustain yourself and have a good career.
Right.
But I was telling him, I said, man, as soon as that happened to the young brother, I said, I am so glad that you're not playing ball anymore, man. I can only imagine what his mom was feeling, and my wife, it'll be 10 years this coming July that she went to be with the Lord. So it's just been us. But anyway, uh, I can only imagine how that sister felt seeing her son laying on the turf like that.
Right. And
And
I'm looking at it like to where, like I said, all my cousins play football.
yeah,
I had one of them had tore his knee up, didn't even know he tore it up. He played 3 extra plays. He was a freshman on the freshman team
yeah,
and didn't even know. And he rehabbed from it, took him 8 months to rehab from it. And
mhm,
he went back out there and tried to show his tail. And
yeah,
he was playing for Coach McGuire at Cedar Hill, who's
okay,
now the head coach over at Texas Tech.
yeah,
uh,
okay,
uh, but he also went to go play for Coach Prime when he was at Prime Prep. The last year Prime Prep was open.
gotcha.
So he didn't get his chance. He went over to Prime Prep, he balled out, and what I'm saying, he got a state championship ring from it and everything, but his knee was still messed up. He kind of had, he got a little bit arthritis. I'm like, bro, you was only 26 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And then his brother played also with him at Cedar Hill Prime Prep, and then he went over to Red Oak and found out that because he played free safety, but he's like 5'8", 150 pounds, playing free safety and strong safety. But he told me from his own mouth, he like, man, I had like 3 or 4 concussions.
Wow.
So I was like, bro, yeah, you good. You don't need to play right now.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Because I mean, that's something could happen and he'd never get over it. So look, brother. Hey, thank you. Hey, you're doing a great job, man.
Man, thank you,
Love
man.
you to death. Hey, look, man. I need that Detroit hat you had on last night because, of course, my name starts with a D. So I'm gonna get in touch with you. Place an order.
Hit me up on
I'm gonna hit you up
on Twitter, man. I got you, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up and hey, keep up the good work, bro.
All right, thank you.
Okay, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right now.
All right, bye.
See, you can have a cool, wonderful conversation.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we have jerseys for players who are actually getting drafted from Jackson State instead of transfers?
We need it.
The students that had jerseys this year are all gone to Colorado.
Man, yeah. So I would say start marking it up. Philip Short, PJ Hatter, Tristan Sion, Batman, marking him, Noah Bouye. I will start marking these shit. Still marking up Savion Wilkerson. It says
he definitely needs his own jersey.
Yeah, it says Guthrie. Marking them up. Like, and it's still kids, it's still kids that came back in from the portal. That came back to the team from the portal that probably didn't get that same type of notoriety, but they'll get it this season. They should be able to get it this season.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's something that Under Armour can do, like as far as an NIL deal. I mean, we're still an Under Armour school.
Yeah. I think that deal is. I think that deal is for a couple. I think that deal is for a couple of years now. So. Okay. Why y'all never question the AD for his involvement in the program? Why do we need to question AD Robinson for his involvement in the program? Because maybe
when he says question, what does he mean? I think the AD's done pretty good. Soccer team SWAC champions, cross country SWAC champions, basketball, women's basketball SWAC champions, football SWAC champions. I don't think there's any other SWAC school with that many SWAC championships in the last 2 years.
And then look at the 3 coaches that the 4 coaches that he hired within the last 4 years. You hired a Coach Reed for the women's basketball team. You hired a Deion Sanders to coach the football team. You hired a Mo Williams for your men's basketball team, and then you backdoor and hire TC and promote TC as the new head football coach. So would I get AD Robinson? Hell, I give him an A+ just for doing all that.
That person said Coach Brian bought all the deals to the table.
Nah, AD bought them. AD Robinson was in it on that too.
When
Because
he says deals, I'm wondering if he's talking about the Coach Prime documentaries, which he profited off of, or the different deals that he made I mean, it was mutually beneficial. I'm
right.
guessing he's talking about maybe the Walmart field and the $2.4 million in scholarships
Hmm.
that he was able to broker.
Or the deal with American Airlines to sponsor the school. I mean, is AD Robinson has been hands on with with
I
the
mean, the
athletic
AD
program.
has to approve everything. I mean, maybe he bought it to the table, but the training table, Coach Prime didn't pay for that. That had to come out of athletics.
Hmm.
The AD approved that.
But I think at the time we was already getting that stuff before Coach Prime even got there.
Well, for the locker rooms and the renovation of uh, the players' lounge, that was under construction. There's actually a video that I can copy and paste in the chat that you can go look at,
Hmm.
and you'll actually see Coach Prime looking at it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if it'll work. Oh man, I don't know if it's gonna work. Let's see. It might not work. But basically yeah, it's not gonna work. There's a video of Coach Prime and he's actually viewing the facilities in the beginning.
I'm gonna say this about Coach AD Robinson, y'all. Before he got to Jackson State, he was the athletic director for Prairie View. He made some coaching hires at Prairie View. Uh, guess who they were? They were Willie Simmons
Mm-hmm.
and an Eric Dooley. So it's not like this man doesn't know what he's doing. He
Right.
knows what he's doing. He he's young enough to know what he's doing. And then yes, Zay Shaw, he hired Dooley. Dooley wasn't. Dooley still had a winning record at Prairie View. He still hired him.
Mm-hmm.
He hired Willie Simmons. Willie Simmons took over a program at Prairie View from Dr. Henry Frazier at the time. No, not Henry Frazier. It was Hashman Norton. They was kind of teetering. He took that program over. Then he went over to FAMU, and look what he did at FAMU. So it's not like AD Robinson doesn't know how to pick them. He knows how to pick the people to run these programs.
Right. I'm not under I understand that Coach Prime made things happen, but you know what? He had to make things happen because we simply just don't have the money. We don't have the money for it. Now some of that stuff was in the works, like the
Yeah.
renovating of the locker rooms and stuff. But um he used his connects and Coach Prime looked like that was the goodwill that he put towards Jackson State. He got back 100-fold because there wasn't a Power 5 out there that was looking to hire him.
I'm gonna answer this question right here. If JSU was doing all the things, why are people upset that Coach Prime left and Coach Prime was only staying at JSU for 2 years?
We're over it,
We're
actually.
over it.
Yeah, we're
The
over it.
reason why people are upset is because how he left. Now, that's it.
A
That
week
was
and a
it.
half later, after Celebration Bowl, I would say 95% of Jackson State fans, alums, students, with the exception of probably the athletes, they're over it. Like, we've moved on. We keep getting brought back into discussion because, of course, the Coach Prime documentary comes on. Like, you can't tell somebody to get over something and that person is still talking about you. Like, you're going to address it. You're going to talk about the Coach Prime documentary and everything surrounding it.
And it's going to be.
And then who says that we failed? JSU failed. How did we fail?
We took advantage of everything that that
this
was
is the
brought to
thing,
us.
the real tea. Coach Prime, he was basically doing an audition for a Power 5 job, and he kept showing them, this is what I can do with nothing. Imagine what I can do with everything.
Right.
So now Colorado has literally gave him everything.
Gave him the keys to the Ferrari.
When I say everything, he has money. He said, I don't have enough money to pay my coaching staff. They gave him $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the facilities. I think the facilities are like $170 million.
Yeah.
We don't have NIL. Colorado gave Coach Prime everything possible to, like, anything that he was saying that he didn't have, they have all of it 1,000 times fold. Now the question is, what is he going to do with all that? And what is his excuse going to be if he's not if he's not bowl eligible by year 2? I don't even think they're going to give him 2 years.
Right. But my thing is, if he's bowl eligible, if he could get the team bowl eligible in his first 2 years, I mean, then you say something. But
I just think that they'll pressure him to remove his son. If his son doesn't immediately have an impact this year, they don't play that. They play booster ball up there. So if I'm donating $5 million to your school and my nephew is not getting any playing time, it's a problem. They play booster ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they might put pressure on him to remove Shedeur as QB1 if next year Shedeur's numbers aren't up there, which I'm hoping that they are up there, because if not, they'll put pressure on him to move to a different quarterback.
I'm gonna say it like this. He was successful. Yes, he was successful. Ultimately, it's on his ability to recruit. And it's the power, and it's that what Mr. Ford was talking about a couple of times. It's the power structure as far as taking him out of the SWAC and getting the PWI, the Power 5 football factory to go back to what it was, because I think they seen the writing on the wall at Jackson State, what he was doing at Jackson State, and how he was taking kids that look like us back home to our HBCUs.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, at the Power 5 level, everybody has NIL deals.
Yep.
Everybody has $100 million facilities, and everybody's able to recruit big names. Not necessarily, we're talking about in the Pac-12. And I think if you looked at all of the different schools that are in the Pac-12,
mm-hmm.
I think Mr. Campbell made a point that 9 of those teams were bowl eligible this year.
Yep.
Week 1, they have to play TCU, and TCU is in the national championship.
Yep, and I'm watching them on Monday night.
All the recruits in the world, like, most school, it takes a couple of years to build up the depth and build up. They want him to do what he did at Jackson State. That's what they want him to do in Colorado.
Pretty much. And you look at it, you look at the schedule, like you said, yeah, they start off with TCU in Fort Worth, and TCU pretty much gonna have almost the same teams minus the quarterback. And then he has a 5-game stretch where he plays.
Yeah, USC was 8-1, Utah 7-2, Washington 7-2. They ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the 12 were ranked.
He's lucky that he's not playing Washington. He's playing Washington State. That's his last game. He ain't got to play Washington because he played Washington. If he go up to Husky Stadium and play Washington, that's a blowout.
Yeah, UCL was 18 in the country. They were 6-3. Oregon State 14th, 6-3. Oregon 15, 7-2. Washington 7-2. Utah 7-2. USC 8-1. And so it's not even just about recruiting a whole bunch of 4 and 5 star. Like, it's way bigger than that. And it looks like they've been getting crushed.
I like what Lily just said right here. PWIs make you fat. HBCUs make you hungry. I love that. And here's my whole thing about this. And then I'm gonna get ready to shut it down because I've been up since like 8:30 this morning. When Shedeur leaves, he's
Coach
going
Prime
to leave.
leaving.
Huh?
Coach Prime leaving.
He got 1 year to do it.
I think, what is it? He has to pay $15 million if he leaves in the first year, $10 million in the second, and I think 8 in the third. And so Shedeur is already a Heisman. They were talking shit about him being a Heisman over here at Jackson State, but as soon as he got to the Pac-12, all of a sudden he's a Heisman contender.
They say he's a Heisman front runner, but you got the dude that's over at USC that just won the damn thing this past season. He's coming back.
Right. Mark Robinson said Coach Prime will win 6 to 7 games next season. I want to know which game he's gonna win.
Tell me which game he's gonna win. I want to know this too. But this is another question. How they did UT did Charlie Strong and A&M did Kevin Sumlin. Yes, UT did Charlie Strong bad because they didn't want Charlie Strong to be a disciplinarian. But
that's not going to roll over too well for Coach Prime, who will sit somebody down for the stuff that he did to his players at Jackson State. And white folks not going for that.
And then A&M did with Kevin Sumlin. He had one down. Kevin Sumlin had pretty much one mid-year, and that was it for him. And that was it. Charlie Strong was a disciplinarian, but you just ran off a coach in Mac Brown, who was also a disciplinarian, but he had some leniency with majority of his players. And Mac Brown was a hell of a recruiter at the time too for University of Texas.
They was raising Cain about Coach Prime, telling people go ahead and hop in the portal. He was just being honest. They were 1-11. What did they expect?
And Fred Allen, UT Boosters did run Charlie Strong out of town. They ran him smooth out of Austin. They ran him straight out of Austin. And you trying to tell me you want to coach the coach at one of the best college football coaches that university has ever had since man named Darryl Royal? Man, I can't do it. Tell us what games he's gonna win. I'm gonna get Randy up in here. Then after this, I'm gonna shut it down. What's up, Randy? My bad.
What's going on, man? No problem.
I'm gonna. I know people. What you guys say about tonight?
I was calling to see if you all saw that, last doc.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I watched it.
It wasn't bad, right?
Nah, it
Yeah.
really wasn't bad because a lot of people some people was kind of they was kind of leery about how if they was going to show the administration,
Yeah.
and it really didn't. They just showed the experience of HBCU, especially for the homecoming, and then all the way up to the SWAT championship game, and the fact when he said that he was going to leave.
Right. That's all. Oh,
So,
and did he actually sign a Nike deal with them?
with who?
Colorado.
No, he ain't gonna sign no Nike deal because Nike he've already stated about what Nike did to him when he was playing football.
Man, when them white folks be in control of stuff, to my
I don't
understanding, he
know,
said he's not gonna put on no Nike, and there he was in his Nike.
but I just saw something that he may partner with him or something
Mm, that'll
Mm,
be news to me.
because the school has
yeah,
a deal in place already.
well, he just gonna have to go back to Nike. He'll just,
Yeah,
I mean, he's still an Under Armour. Uh,
individual.
yeah,
Oh, okay, I got it. All right.
He probably made a deal where his Coach Prime gear is done in Nike. Like he don't want to wear Nike, but as long as he gets to sell his Coach Prime gear, he good.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Damn. And I had another question. Oh, where is JSU with their staff? Are they uh announcing anything soon?
Uh, well, right now, TC hasn't announced anything, but majority of those players that he's recruiting is is putting in the
Announcing.
tweets that about
Yeah.
who they to be talking to.
Who
But
are they?
uh,
Maurice Harris, he is under the Hugh Freeze tree.
Oh,
mhm,
yeah. Okay.
He a very good coach.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
He was a tight end. He actually coached for 2 seasons at Alabama State, so he's coached at an HBCU.
so he
Mm-hmm.
know what the deal
He was
is.
a tight ends coach, and I want to say a running back. He was a running backs coach at Alabama State,
Mm-hmm.
and then under Hugh, Freeze, he was a tight ends coach,
Oh, okay.
and I think he, well, not I think there was two players that were drafted. One was from the Tennessee Titans,
Yeah, Malik
and
Willis.
yeah, Malik Willis, and I think he was a third rounder.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to get the first rounder's name. He
I'm
had a
trying to.
first round pick. He was a tight end.
Okay.
Oh,
I know wide receivers coach supposed to be
Ingram. I
RJ
think his
Fleming.
name is Ingram.
Mark.
Oh, Evan Ingram when
Yep.
he was at Ole Miss.
He was
Oh,
a
okay.
first round draft pick.
Yeah, he was at Ole Miss.
Evan Ingram, the one that played with the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He also if you really talk about with Hugh Freeze, he also
He was
had
a tight ends coach underneath when that tight end got drafted. He was a tight ends coach.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
he also had
Offensive coordinator at Liberty.
mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let me ask y'all a question. If Jackson State goes, say, 21-2 or whatever over the next 2 years, or something like that, and Power Fives call Taylor, what do you think he'll do?
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't know what TC would do because
I
TC
don't
loyal
think
to the TC is like Dame Lillard. He loyal to the soil. So
Oh, okay.
he imagine that you are a student athlete walking through the vet or walking through the locker room at the vet,
Uh-huh.
and now you're getting ready to do that same thing, walk through those same halls, but now you're the head coach.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
So it's like the amount of time that he put in and you know, I think that Jackson State that's where he wanted to end up at.
It was. To me, man, look, TC a Mississippi boy. He Jackson State through and through. I'm telling you, TC is loyal to the soil like Dame Lillard. If he was for the Portland Trail
Now wait
Blazers.
a minute. But Dame got paid though.
It don't
Who
matter
got
if they ain't
paid?
got paid. Dame don't care. He's still loyal. It's like I'm gonna say it just like this. Another person that's loyal to it's like Beast Mode. Beast Mode is loyal to Oakland, like to their city. Like Dame is loyal to
No, I
Oakland.
get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
And
say
what type of position is he getting? Like, is he
say a
getting
head.
a head
All
coach
right.
position? Because if it's
Yes.
not a head coach position,
Yeah.
I
why would
ain't
you
A
leave?
head. A head. Head coach's position. Say it. I don't know. Uh, it probably won't happen at a place like Southern Miss, but a
Yeah,
place in.
there's no FBS school in Mississippi that would hire a black head coach.
That's crazy.
no. They
No.
won't. What only the last coach that did that, the last team that did that was Mississippi State. They had Sylvester Croom, and look
Yeah,
what he did with,
Kroon was there. Yeah,
and look what happened with that. They ran him out of town.
but he turned the program around, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
He did.
No,
You know they don't give black coaches
they
no time
gave
at
they
any
gave that
level.
man 3 years,
Steve Wilkes
Didn't he
from
make
the
a bowl?
Panthers, he's the interim coach right now.
1 bowl.
Oh,
And
okay.
he Steve Wilkes, he turned the program around from what it was.
Where was he?
He's Steve Wilkes, he's a Carolina Panthers interim coach.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They can't wait to hand over that coaching position
Oh,
to
yeah. I see what you're
Sean
saying.
Payton.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just that's just how it is.
I don't know, but I'm definitely happier for y'all. Not for y'all, but for Jackson State, man, because y'all the light is still on y'all. You know what I mean? And you guys are still getting the recruits.
Oh yeah, there was no doubt that we weren't gonna get the recruits. We were just the only thing we was worried about who was going to be our coach. That was it. But I kind of figured that TC was going to be the coach because hell, he was there. TC came there in 2019. And he was on staff with John Hendricks. When John Hendricks was let go, it really was supposed to be TC that was supposed to be the head coach of Jackson State in 2020
Right.
Before Prime, okay.
before Prime got there. But because Ashley was like, we need a spark, we need something
Mm-hmm.
because we can't be complacent in hiring the coaches. We can't go back to the same coaches that's only
Like
been
the recycle coaches.
right. So he made that splash hire with Prime. And
Now,
Prime just kept TC and Coach O on the staff because they know Jackson State, they know the state of Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
All the coaches that Prime brought in, they didn't know that. They didn't know Mississippi like that.
right.
I think every coach that he brought in with him, he took with him.
He took with him.
But he
Yeah.
didn't give them. I mean, they're gonna make more money. But he basically took them and gave them like analyst position, assistant position.
Mm-hmm.
None of these are positions that like I don't see someone going from an analyst to a head coach.
Like Barcelona went from being the OC to the QB coach and
No,
coaching the wide receivers.
he's
Dennis
an
Thurman
analyst. I
went from
thought he's an analyst. I thought.
I think he's an analyst too. Like none of the, and I was surprised. Even Dennis Thurman, he doesn't have like an actual coaching. And these are, let's just be real. These are the positions that if shit don't shake year one, Those are going to be
Is
the
that my
first ones
phone?
that are let go.
Yep.
It is.
So like, yeah, if the positions, if you ain't doing good with those positions as a position coach, yeah, they're gonna let you go because they're gonna find somebody else to go do it. The thing about it is, the only ones that's still at the school from Deion's coaching staff, other than Coach TC and Coach O, is Coach Weeks and Coach Ricard.
Oh, is
Okay.
Coach Weeks staying?
Uh, his name is still in the staff directory from what
Okay.
I seen.
His son is on the special
His
team.
son is on the special teams.
Which I think maybe that is why the defensive line stayed.
Yeah.
They said Richard is gone.
Oh, Ricard gone. Okay, if he gone, well then that only leaves Coach Weeks. That's it.
Ricard is going too.
Yeah, but he didn't go to Colorado. I don't think he went to Colorado though.
And then if I'm Coach TC Taylor, I want to build my own coaching staff how I want it. Now Coach Weeks was a damn good. He was responsible for uh, the training of or seeing that James Houston should be playing that edge rush position. And I remember Houston was saying,
He
"Y'all
was
are
fighting it.
disrespecting my craft. Like
Yeah,
I
you
feel
remember
like I'm
that?
not being utilized."
Yeah. Look at
And
him now.
then look at him now.
Yep.
That's
So I would if I'm TC, I'm keeping Coach Weeks.
Hmm. And I think that's and maybe they haven't really said anything, but that would explain why we were able to retain so much of our defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe Coach Weeks, maybe there is under all of that, like, oh, okay, my coach is staying there. You talking about the same coach that got James Houston drafted? Oh yeah, I'm staying here.
Yeah. And then you see with most of the wide receivers, he with TC because TC recruited majority of the wide receivers to come to the school. So that's another reason why you see most of them coming back. Like Kevin Coleman wasn't gonna come back because he came for Coach Pryor. Of course, Travis Hunter wasn't coming back. And if you watch the last episode of the documentary where he had the players meeting at the school, the emergency meeting at the school, Travis up and said out of his mouth, "Wherever you go, I'm going."
Hmm.
So
That's
that
that's
was the
his
writing
son
on the
now.
wall.
I would just venture to say though, Travis Hunter does not need Deion Sanders.
He really don't.
Deion Sanders needs Travis Hunter.
No. Come
Because
on.
Travis Hunter can go get drafted from anywhere. He could
Mm-hmm.
have went to
Let me
Alabama.
tell you
He
something.
could have went to Georgia.
Let me tell you
Could have went
something.
to Florida.
Let me tell you something.
He could have stayed at Florida State.
Deion sees himself in Travis. Travis also looks up to him, right?
His draft grade as a freshman is like,
Ridiculous.
and if you look up, do you see anything new? If you look at Travis's film, do you see anything new from the film that you see when he was in high school?
Yeah.
What is it that you see new? Because
He's
I don't.
more physical.
But he was physical in high school too.
He
Not
was
like
physical. Yes, he
not
was
like
very much. That's why
not
That's
not
what
like that.
happened to his ankle because he was so physical.
I don't know. Not like that.
If you
I've been
see
following him
his
since
film, we're
he was
talking
like a
about
junior.
as far as like his actual play, not
Mhm.
necessarily building him up as a man and all that other stuff. We're talking about his play specifically. Like Deion Sanders needed to make sure that Travis went to Colorado with him. If Travis didn't go to Colorado with Coach Prime, it would have been a problem.
Let me tell you, I think Travis really trusts Deion. See, Travis has been a great athlete since maybe the 8th grade. So everybody's been coming at him, right? But I think Deion Sanders is the first one that he actually trusts as a man.
I mean, that's his idol. So,
Exactly. Right.
but
Okay.
it's risky for him to, as it is with all players, it's very risky to follow a coach everywhere he goes, like playing hopscotch.
Why? Why you say that?
Why do I say it's risky?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm, it just depends on how Colorado is developed.
Well, I'm gonna say this: he won't have a problem with system, right? Like learning like a new system.
Hmm.
He won't have a problem with
I
uh
mean, the offensively, uh, the air raid is the system for that. So it's just they're not learning a new offensive system.
right. So
So that's going to be continuity for Shador and for Travis Hunter and for
right,
anybody else that comes from uh, over from Jackson State. These players like Cam's been under Coach Prime since he was in high school.
Yep, his
So for
sister.
some of these kids, they all know what Coach Prime expects, and they all, are already in line.
and the kid that signed from I think that was Notre Dame, the running back, played youth football for him. You know what I mean? Like he was one of the kids that what was what was the name of it? That Truth or something?
Oh, his truth youth football program.
Yeah, yeah. I think he signed two of those kids. One was the running back, and I think the other one is a receiver or something.
Hmm. Well, I don't know. But I'm gonna answer this question, and then we gonna call it a night.
All right.
So, and Mark, you talking about she going back and forth to talk about Deion Sanders got James Houston drafted. I'm gonna say it like this: James Houston got James Houston drafted. James Houston's play got himself drafted. That's what I'm just gonna say. Deion and Coach Weiss just put that bug in his ear to say you are a better athlete with your hand in the dirt than
Mm-hmm.
you standing up and being a middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm. It's true
Remember,
though.
he came from Florida as a middle linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
He got to Jackson State. He already had linebackers. He
And
already
look,
had Aubrey Miller. He had Aubrey Miller and Barron Hobson and Niles Gaddy, which Niles Gaddy can actually translate from being a stand-up rush linebacker to
now
handling their defensive end.
wasn't that guy 40? What was his name? The one that was there.
Keontae
Correct.
Hampton. Keontae
Hampton.
Hampton.
Now he wasn't he there too?
Who?
Keontae is
Hampton.
from the uh, previous Jackson.
Keontae came in from Coach Hendricks.
He was
So
already there.
He
so
was,
Houston so Houston was playing behind them, right? I mean behind Hampton and
Houston was gonna play behind Hampton and Aubrey. Aubrey was already slated to be the middle linebacker.
right.
Keontae was an outside linebacker, but you could put Keontae at any position, at any linebacker position, and he was going to excel because he had sideline to sideline
Yeah.
speed.
He was a
Right.
will, I think.
James Houston, because we had so many linebackers already on the team, he came in and said, "No, you're going to be an edge rusher."
And he did not want to do it, but it's
He
just
did not want to do it.
amazing to look
Yeah.
at him play. Amazing. The little skip to my Lou that he did.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Last week when he showed his linebacker skills last week when he tackled open. He had
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Were you an athlete? I'm sorry. What's your name? I'm sorry.
Are you
Ma'am.
talking to me?
Yeah, yeah.
I was not an athlete in college.
You wasn't?
No.
High school?
Mm-mm. I mean, I ran track.
That's
Yeah.
an athlete.
Yeah.
But you are knowledgeable. Good gracious.
See,
That's awesome.
so
All right, Doc. I'm about to get out of here, man. It's
all
like
right, Randy. Thank you, man.
quarter
Thanks
to.
for coming
Take
on the
care,
show,
y'all.
bro.
All right, bro.
Thanks.
All right, see you later.
So, and this is right. CH, you're right. Coach Weeks was the one who noticed that James Houston was a better position at the end instead of at linebacker because he was quick off the ball.
Yes,
Quick.
and he is just he's proving people like him and Jacoby Durant are putting on for HBCUs.
Hold on now. If Prime doesn't call out the NFL teams, even James knew his chance was little to none getting drafted. Y'all know better. No, Prime. That was only because nobody didn't get drafted in the 2021 draft from an HBCU.
It's also COVID.
It was also COVID. Nobody didn't come to see the players at
People
the time
are saying that, but people from South Carolina State has been getting drafted and making noise, and they do not have the spotlight on them. They're always playing Power Fives, so that means that they're looking at 2 to 3 losses per year. But they're still getting people drafted.
Yep.
Shaq Davis should be getting drafted this year.
Yep. Shaq Davis is a dog at receiver. But yeah, James Houston, man, look. And it took time, he played as a DN for the one season. And it really do take a little bit more time to refine yourself as a defensive end. So yes, when he got drafted, putting him in the practice squad made him get better because you're going up against everybody
I think
else.
that was more so also politics.
And it was.
He's the 6th rounder. He's a rookie. Kind of like when you redshirt a freshman. Because right before he was able to actually play, he was taken off of the practice squad and he was put back on. Then they let him play. And if you see it, like now the Detroit Lions is all James Houston, the problem. But like, there's no doubt in my mind that James Houston would have been Rookie of the Year, and he would have been at the Pro Bowl his first year if he would have started day one.
And you got to realize too, if let's just say if he was, instead of him coming in during the Thanksgiving Day game, he would have came in let's say 2 or 3 games before that. Or if let's just say he would have played from the 4th to 5th game on, he probably would end up with, at his projection, he probably end up with 12 and a half, 13 sacks.
And he still might get those.
And people realize this, that Detroit was not getting any type of pressure on the D line other than Aiden Hutchinson. And Aiden Hutchinson ain't number one dude. You put James on the D line, and Aiden Hutchinson he can play zone. Cause realize the man, this kid got 3 interceptions playing defensive end. And
Houston needs a pay raise.
They'll give him one.
I'm hoping that he gets 2 to 3 more sacks this next game. Oh, I want. Who is he playing? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they're playing Green Bay.
Play Roger Rabbit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're playing Green Bay.
The only problem with that is we all know with quarterbacks like Rodgers, they be hitting them with the penalties. When you sack them, you're looking at penalties. Certain QBs, they get the unnecessary roughness call.
Did you watch the one play James did, and he bull rushed the offensive tackle into the quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he probably gonna do. Like he has a variety of moves that I like. You will only see from like a 8-9 year veteran, like somebody like JJ Watt or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And but we shall see what's going to happen on Sunday. Like I said, if he would have played like in the 5th game on, he probably would have like 12.5 sacks. His buddy probably would have had probably another 10 because now he could play freely off the line, off the ball, and he
Right.
can
They
still
can't
rush.
double team both of them.
Yeah, can't double team both of them.
Right. Right.
And Detroit is actually improved since he came into the game for Thanksgiving, and they have actually improved defensive wise too. So, but if they win Sunday, and I know they gotta have a wing and a prayer for another team to lose, then they'll be in the playoffs. And if they in the playoffs, then it will be they'll probably play my Cowboys.
Oh, really? Is Marquise Bell still playing?
Yes, Marquise Bell is still on at the roster, and I think he plans. I think he's on special teams. He was in the game. He was in what was that game they played? It was the Minnesota game where we uh blew him out by 50. he got in on a couple of snaps. So that's another person. He should have been drafted. He should have been drafted. I don't care anybody say Marquise Bell should have been drafted.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for coming on to the show as always.
Thank you for having me.
I might come back. I should come back on here tomorrow because I'm probably gonna talk about Coppin State and their basketball.
Oh Lord!
So I'm gonna do me some homework early in the morning.
You talking about the catfish case?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna do my research on that one, and I'll be on here. I'll probably be on there for about like around 2:00.
Okay. Okay. Well, if anybody's in the chat, go ahead and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. She Loves the podcast. I haven't started. I'm getting there. I'll be starting soon. So please click the link in the chat. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you for having me, Doc.
Anytime.
As always, it was great.
And always make sure, look, for all my people that's already subscribers, if you want to become a member of the channel, man, look, $4.99, get all your membership perks. $4.99, get all your membership perks. This doesn't go just directly in my pocket. This goes for the podcast, goes for the channel. But as always, in the meantime, between time, y'all be safe. Y'all be blessed. Y'all stay safe. And always, y'all stay dangerous. Peace.